In this video, we will analyze 15 critical mistakes with olive oil that can not only undermine your health, but also put your life at serious risk. This product is known for its beneficial properties, but improper use can lead to severe consequences, from digestive issues and vascular inflammation to serious liver dysfunction and an increased risk of oncological diseases. Each point is based on real medical data, research from American institutes, and cases of patients who have suffered due to common mistakes. You may already be making one of them without even realizing that it is damaging your body. We have arranged these mistakes in order of their danger level, from those that can gradually harm your health to those that are truly life-threatening. Watch the video until the end to avoid the most dangerous mistake and protect yourself and your loved ones. This video is going to be incredibly informative and helpful. If you want to take control of your health like a pro, give it a like, and let's get started. Mistake 1. Olive oil and bread, especially toast. The classic avocado toast with egg, tomatoes, or salmon. At first glance, what could be harmful about such a common combination as toast with olive oil? This duo has become an essential part of many breakfasts, whether it is avocado toast, crispy bread with tomatoes, or even a version with salmon and egg. However, behind this culinary classic lies a serious risk that few people consider. Baking or frying bread at high temperatures is an essential step in preparing most toasts. However, this process leads to the formation of acrylamide, a substance that the National Cancer Institute of the United States calls a potential carcinogen. Research conducted by the University of California, Davis has shown that a single toasted slice of bread can contain between 30 and 162 micrograms of acrylamide, depending on the degree of toasting. The darker the crust, the higher the concentration of this dangerous compound. When hot toast is combined with olive oil, the situation becomes even more concerning. Under the influence of high temperatures, the oil partially oxidizes, forming lipid peroxides and aldehydes, substances that trigger oxidative stress and chronic inflammation in the body. American studies conducted by scientists from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health have confirmed that regular consumption of such products can increase the risk of chronic inflammatory liver diseases by 34% and raise the likelihood of lipid metabolism disorders by 27%. A case from American medical practice vividly demonstrates the consequences of this habit. In 2023, 48-year-old Jeffrey Collins sought medical attention at a clinic in New York. For 5 years, he had started each morning with a toast drizzled with olive oil. He developed non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, a severe form of fatty liver disease associated with liver inflammation. Doctors determined that one of the causes of his condition was prolonged exposure to oxidized fats and acrylamide glycation products, which overburdened his liver. Specialists note that in recent years, the number of such cases has increased by 23%. This problem has a simple but important solution. Instead of drizzling hot toast with olive oil, add it to already cooled bread or use it as a dressing for fresh vegetable salads. Research by the National Institutes of Health of the United States has shown that consuming olive oil in its raw form reduces the risk of inflammatory processes by 18% and helps normalize liver function. If you find it difficult to give up crispy bread, choose whole grain varieties and lightly dry them in the oven at a temperature no higher than 120 degrees Celsius, 248 degrees Fahrenheit, to minimize acrylamide formation. This way, you can continue enjoying your favorite dishes without exposing your health to unnecessary risk. Mistake 2. Olive oil and eggs. In omelets, scrambled eggs, boiled eggs with avocado, eggs Benedict. Omelets, eggs Benedict, scrambled eggs, or simply boiled eggs with avocado may seem like a harmless and even healthy breakfast. Many people are accustomed to using olive oil when preparing these dishes, believing it to be a healthier alternative to butter. However, science suggests otherwise. Combining eggs with olive oil at high temperatures can lead to serious health issues. Scientists from Pennsylvania State University have found that heating olive oil above 180 degrees Celsius, 356 degrees Fahrenheit, leads to oxidation and the formation of toxic aldehydes and polar compounds, which increase the risk of inflammatory diseases by 29%. These compounds can damage liver, heart, and blood vessel cells, raising the risk of chronic illnesses. The longer the oil is exposed to heat, the higher the concentration of these harmful substances. Another serious concern is the strain on the gallbladder and pancreas. Olive oil stimulates the release of bile, while eggs are a complex food to digest. Together, they create additional stress on the digestive system, which is especially dangerous for individuals with cholecystitis, pancreatitis, and irritable bowel syndrome. Research from the University of North Carolina has shown that in 37% of patients with chronic gastrointestinal disorders, regular consumption of eggs fried in olive oil triggered symptom flare-ups, including pain, bloating, and digestive irregularities. These findings are supported by real-life cases. In 2022, 55-year-old Michael Robinson sought medical attention at a clinic in Miami after years of preparing omelets exclusively with olive oil. He complained of persistent heaviness in his abdomen and pain in the right upper quadrant. During examination, doctors diagnosed him with chronic cholecystitis and gallstones. He required urgent surgery because the blockage of the bile ducts had caused severe inflammation. The solution to this problem is simple, but requires a conscious approach. If you enjoy eggs, it is better to boil them or cook them using steam. If you cannot do without omelets, use oils with a high smoke point for frying, such as avocado oil, which can withstand temperatures up to 271 degrees Celsius, 520 degrees Fahrenheit, without producing harmful compounds. Olive oil, on the other hand, should be added to finished dishes to preserve its beneficial properties and prevent harm to your health. Mistake 3. Olive oil and tomatoes. In salads, on sandwiches, in Mexican dishes. This duo seems perfect. Juicy, ripe tomatoes soaked in aromatic olive oil adorn not only Mediterranean cuisine, but also many American dishes. But what if this combination can do more than just delight your taste buds? What if it can also pose a serious risk to your health? The acidity of tomatoes is a hidden factor that many do not consider. Their pH ranges from 4.2 to 4.6, making them harsh on the stomach lining, especially when combined with the fatty environment of olive oil. For individuals prone to gastritis or acid reflux, this combination can trigger worsening symptoms and, in severe cases, contribute to the development of stomach ulcers. A 2023 study by the American College of Gastroenterology found that 67% of patients with gastroesophageal reflux disease experienced worsening symptoms when consuming acidic foods in a fatty medium, and more than 40% reported nighttime heartburn episodes after such meals. Another hidden danger is fat oxidation. Olive oil, especially unrefined, is rich in monounsaturated fats, but when stored improperly or mixed with a watery, acidic environment, it can react with oxygen, losing its beneficial properties and turning into a source of toxic compounds. In 2022, the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute of the United States published a study indicating that oxidized lipids formed in improperly stored oil-tomato mixtures increase the risk of atherosclerosis by 32% and can accelerate the development of ischemic heart disease. Cardiologists from the Cleveland Clinic documented a case of a 54-year-old man from Denver, Colorado, who was admitted with chest pain and high blood pressure. It turned out that for several years, he had been eating sandwiches with tomatoes and olive oil daily, using a pre-prepared mixture. Laboratory tests showed high levels of oxidized low-density lipoproteins, which contributed to the rapid progression of atherosclerosis. Doctors strongly advised him to stop consuming oil in this manner and to adjust his diet. To avoid these issues, it is important to combine foods correctly. Olive oil should be added immediately before consumption rather than mixed with tomatoes in advance. Store the oil in a dark, cool place, avoiding exposure to air and light to prevent oxidation. If you already have stomach acidity issues, try replacing raw tomatoes with cooked ones, such as stewed or baked, as they lose some of their acidity and become less aggressive on the stomach lining. Mistake 4. Olive oil and chicken in salads, sandwiches, burritos, tacos. Crispy chicken skin fried in aromatic olive oil seems like the perfect choice for a healthy meal. Many people believe that by replacing regular vegetable oils with olive oil, they automatically make the dish healthier. However, this is a serious mistake that can impact health. When chicken is fried in olive oil at high temperatures, its molecular structure begins to break down. As a result, aldehydes and polar compounds are formed, substances that contribute to vascular inflammation and increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. A 2023 study by the American Heart Association found that regularly consuming fried foods cooked in improperly used oils increases the likelihood of developing atherosclerosis by 34%. This is because oxidized fats promote plaque buildup in the arteries, raising the risk of strokes and heart attacks. An even greater danger lies in marinades containing olive oil. When the oil is mixed with acids such as lemon juice or vinegar, it starts to oxidize even before cooking. This leads to a loss of antioxidant properties and the formation of harmful free radicals that damage cells in the body. A 2022 study from Johns Hopkins University showed that 58% of tested marinades containing olive oil and acids had elevated levels of oxidized lipids, which accumulate in the body and accelerate inflammatory processes. Doctors at a clinic in Houston recently encountered a severe case. A 46-year-old man who ate chicken daily, marinated in olive oil and lemon juice, and then fried it in a pan, was admitted with shortness of breath and chest pain. Diagnostic tests revealed inflammation of the arterial walls and elevated levels of oxidized low-density lipoproteins, which could have led to the development of ischemic heart disease. To avoid such consequences, it is important to use olive oil correctly. It is suitable for salads and low-temperature baking, but not for frying over high heat. If a marinade contains acid, it is better to add the oil at the end of the cooking process rather than beforehand. For frying, it is best to choose oils with a high smoke point, such as avocado oil or refined coconut oil. Mistake 5, olive oil and cheese. Mozzarella, feta, cottage cheese, parmesan. In salads, on toasts, in pasta. The combination of olive oil and cheese seems like a true culinary delight, whether it is a fresh caprese salad with mozzarella, a Greek salad with feta, or a crispy toast with cottage cheese and a drizzle of olive oil. These dishes are often associated with healthy eating. However, behind this gastronomic pleasure lies a serious risk to the cardiovascular system here, especially when these foods are consumed regularly. Cheeses, especially hard and aged varieties, contain a high amount of saturated fats. Parmesan, for example, contains up to 29 grams of saturated fat per 100 grams of product, while feta contains about 14 grams. When combined with olive oil, which is itself a source of fats, the strain on the body increases significantly. A 2023 study by the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that people whose diets were rich in saturated fats, combined with vegetable oils, had a 42% higher risk of chronic vascular inflammation, which in the long term leads to an increased likelihood of strokes and heart attacks. Such combinations are particularly dangerous for individuals with existing heart conditions or a predisposition to atherosclerosis. In 2022, the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute of the United States published data indicating that 61% of patients with ischemic heart disease had a diet that regularly included cheese and vegetable oils. In these cases, vascular inflammation accelerates and cholesterol plaques form more rapidly, leading to arterial blockages. A recent medical case documented a 52-year-old man from Atlanta who had been eating salads with feta, olive oil, and nuts daily for 10 years, believing this diet to be perfectly healthy. However, an examination revealed that his levels of inflammatory markers in the blood were critically high, and his arteries were narrowed by nearly 70%. Doctors noted that excessive consumption of saturated fats combined with the fats in olive oil contributed to the accelerated development of atherosclerosis. To avoid such problems, it is essential to consume fats wisely. Olive oil is best paired with low-fat foods such as vegetables, legumes, lean meats, or fish. If you are not ready to give up the combination of oil and cheese, reduce portion sizes and opt for lower-fat varieties such as ricotta or goat cheese. This approach can help reduce the strain on blood vessels and maintain heart health. Mistake 6. Olive oil and salmon, both fresh and lightly salted. In sushi, rolls, sandwiches, and salads. Salmon is one of the healthiest sources of fats, rich in essential omega-3 fatty acids that protect the heart and blood vessels. Olive oil, in turn, is known for its antioxidants and beneficial monounsaturated fats. It may seem like nothing could be better for health. However, if these two products are combined incorrectly, you may not only lose all their benefits, but also trigger serious issues with blood pressure and metabolism. Omega-3 fatty acids are extremely sensitive to heat. A 2022 study by the University of Minnesota found that at temperatures above 70 degrees Celsius, 158 degrees Fahrenheit, up to 65% of the beneficial omega-3s in salmon begin to break down. If salmon is fried in olive oil, which is rich in polyunsaturated fats, the oxidation process speeds up twice as fast. This means that instead of a nutritious meal, a person consumes oxidized fats that contribute to inflammatory processes in the body and increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Another risk comes from combining olive oil with salted salmon. Lightly salted fish contains a significant amount of sodium, on average between 1,200 and 1,800 milligrams per 100 grams. When paired with the fatty environment of olive oil, this sodium retains fluid in the body, causing spikes in blood pressure. According to the American Heart Association, 57% of people with hypertension experience worsened symptoms when regularly consuming fatty meals with high salt content. Additionally, 29% have an increased risk of hypertensive crisis when frequently eating lightly salted fish combined with oils. A recent case at a clinic in San Diego clearly demonstrated how deceptive this combination can be. A 49-year-old man who frequently ate sandwiches with olive oil and lightly salted salmon was admitted with leg swelling and sudden blood pressure spikes. Doctors found that he was experiencing chronic fluid retention caused by a constant excess of sodium and fats, which placed additional strain on his heart and kidneys. To avoid such issues, it is better to use olive oil as a dressing for dishes with baked or boiled salmon rather than frying it in oil. If lightly salted fish is a frequent part of your diet, consider limiting oil consumption or replacing it with lighter dressings such as lemon juice or yogurt-based sauces. This will help maintain a proper fat balance, reduce stress on blood vessels, and prevent blood pressure problems. Mistake 7. Olive oil and cucumbers in vegetable salads, rolls, and smoothies. Crispy fresh cucumbers with olive oil. What could be lighter and healthier? This salad is served in restaurants and prepared at home, often considered an excellent choice for a nutritious diet. However, this combination is not as harmless as it seems at first glance. Cucumbers, which are 96% water, create significant challenges in absorbing fat-soluble vitamins found in olive oil and can also cause discomfort in the stomach. Fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K, require the presence of fats for proper absorption in the body. However, the excess water in cucumbers essentially dilutes digestive juices, slowing down the digestion process. A 2023 study from the University of North Carolina found that when olive oil is combined with foods that have a high water content, the absorption of vitamin E decreases by 43% and vitamin A by 35%. This means that a person may eat healthy foods but not receive the expected benefits from them. Additionally, the combination of fats and a large amount of water can lead to bloating, especially in individuals with sensitive digestion. In 2022, the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases of the United States published data showing that 39% of people with irritable bowel syndrome experience discomfort after consuming foods with high water content combined with oils. Fats slow down gastric emptying, while water from cucumbers dilutes stomach acid, creating additional strain on the digestive system. A recent case at a clinic in Los Angeles involved a 38-year-old man who regularly ate salads with olive oil and a large amount of cucumbers. He complained of persistent bloating and a feeling of heaviness in the stomach. After an examination, doctors found delayed fat digestion and increased gas production, which were caused by the incompatibility of these foods. To get the most benefits from olive oil, it is better to pair it with vegetables that contain less water, such as carrots, spinach, or bell peppers. If cucumbers are included in a dish, it is best to add the oil right before serving rather than mixing it in advance to minimize the effect of water on vitamin absorption. This simple adjustment can help prevent discomfort and allow the body to fully absorb valuable nutrients from food. Mistake 8. Olive oil and rice in sushi, poke, and Buddha bowls. Rice with olive oil may seem like a completely harmless combination. It appears in sushi, poke, Buddha bowls, and even some Mediterranean dishes. Many believe that adding healthy oil to starchy foods makes the meal more nutritious. However, this combination can cause sharp spikes in blood sugar levels, posing a serious risk for individuals with diabetes and metabolic disorders. White rice is a source of fast-digesting carbohydrates that quickly break down in the body, causing a rise in blood glucose levels. The glycemic load index varies from 44 to 89, depending on the variety and cooking method. Adding olive oil slows down starch absorption, but also interferes with the normal release of insulin. A 2023 study by the American Diabetes Association found that 64% of individuals with prediabetes experienced blood sugar fluctuations for several hours after consuming meals that contained a combination of starchy foods and fats. This is particularly dangerous for people with metabolic syndrome. In 2022, the National Institutes of Health of the United States published data showing that 58% of patients with type 2 diabetes experienced worsening symptoms when frequently consuming meals high in carbohydrates and fats simultaneously. The fat content slows down glucose clearance from the bloodstream, increasing insulin resistance and contributing to more severe forms of diabetes. A recent case at a clinic in New York involved a 45-year-old man who regularly ate poke with olive oil. He complained of sudden blood sugar spikes accompanied by weakness, dizziness, and brain fog. Lab tests revealed elevated levels of glycated hemoglobin, indicating worsening diabetes. Doctors explained that the combination of a fast-digesting carbohydrate, rice, and fat, olive oil, slowed the insulin response, leading to chronic hyperglycemia. To avoid such consequences, it is better to combine rice with sources of protein, such as fish, tofu, or chicken, and add oil in small amounts, preferably after meals that include low glycemic vegetables. This approach helps balance blood sugar levels and reduces strain on the pancreas. Mistake 9. Olive oil and meat, beef, turkey, pork, in burgers, tacos, and burritos. A juicy burger patty fried in olive oil or flavorful pieces of pork in a burrito may seem like familiar and delicious meals. Many people believe that by replacing regular vegetable oil with olive oil, they are making their food healthier. However, frying meat in olive oil at high temperatures can turn it into a source of harmful compounds that increase the risk of developing oncological diseases. When olive oil is heated above 190 degrees Celsius, 374 degrees Fahrenheit, fat oxidation begins, leading to the formation of toxic aldehydes and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, substances linked to an increased risk of cancer. A 2023 study by the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center found that regular consumption of fried meat cooked in olive oil increases the risk of colorectal by 32% and the risk of stomach tumors by 27%. This is particularly dangerous for those who fry meat until a crispy brown crust appears. During this cooking process, heterocyclic amines and acrylamide are released, carcinogenic compounds that contribute to cellular mutations. In 2022, the National Cancer Institute of the United States published data showing that 49% of people who frequently consume well-done meat have elevated levels of tumor markers, indicating potential precancerous changes in the body. Doctors at a clinic in Miami recently treated a 50-year-old man who ate burgers fried in olive oil daily. He sought medical attention due to digestive problems and stomach discomfort. A biopsy revealed early-stage precancerous changes in the intestinal lining, requiring an immediate revision of his diet. To reduce these risks, it is best to avoid frying meat in olive oil at high temperatures. Instead, consider steaming, baking, or braising meat using oils that are more heat-resistant, such as avocado oil or clarified butter. If frying is unavoidable, it is important to use minimal temperatures and avoid charring the meat. This will help preserve flavor without compromising health. Mistake 10. Olive oil and tuna, canned or fresh, in salads, rolls, and sandwiches. Tuna is a popular choice for salads, rolls, and sandwiches. Its tender meat is rich in protein, healthy fats, and essential amino acids. Adding a little olive oil may seem to make the dish even healthier. However, this combination hides a serious risk. Canned tuna often contains mercury, and oil can enhance its absorption in the body, increasing the product's toxicity. Mercury is a heavy metal that accumulates in large marine fish, including tuna. According to the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences of the United States, about 74% of canned tuna samples contain elevated mercury levels. and in 36% of cases, the concentration exceeds the allowable limits for pregnant women. Regular consumption of such tuna can lead to mercury buildup in the body, which over time may cause neurological disorders, memory impairment, and even kidney dysfunction. Olive oil makes the problem worse. A 2023 study by the University of California found that the fatty environment of oils promotes faster absorption of lipophilic toxins, including mercury, into the bloodstream. In a test group that consumed canned tuna with oil, mercury levels in the blood were 27% higher than in those who ate tuna without added fats. This occurs because oils facilitate the transport of toxins through cell membranes, increasing their concentration in tissues. There is also a risk associated with oxidized fats. Many types of canned tuna are stored in oil, which oxidizes over time, losing its beneficial properties and turning into a source of harmful compounds. A study by the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that regular consumption of oxidized fats increases inflammatory markers in the body by 31%, raising the risk of cardiovascular diseases and chronic inflammatory conditions. Doctors at a clinic in Chicago recently treated a 43-year-old man who regularly ate salads with canned tuna and olive oil. He complained of constant fatigue, headaches, and reduced concentration. Lab tests revealed elevated mercury levels in his blood, leading to toxic effects on his nervous system. To avoid these risks, it is best to choose tuna from reputable sources with low mercury content, such as yellowfin or skipjack tuna. It is also advisable to select canned fish packed in water and add olive oil only immediately before consumption to minimize fat oxidation. And this approach helps preserve the nutritional value of the product while preventing toxin accumulation in the body. Mistake 11. Olive oil and leafy greens, spinach, arugula, lettuce, kale, in salads and smoothies. A light salad with leafy greens and olive oil seems like the ultimate symbol of healthy eating. Spinach, arugula, kale, and lettuce are rich in vitamins, antioxidants, and fiber, while oil enhances their flavor and boosts their nutritional benefits. However, it is not that simple. Some leafy greens contain oxalic acid, a compound that binds to calcium and interferes with its absorption, which in the long run can lead to serious problems with bones and kidneys. Oxalic acid is a natural anti-nutrient that prevents calcium absorption by forming insoluble compounds. A 2023 study by the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that people who regularly consume large amounts of spinach have calcium levels that are 18% lower than those who choose alternative greens. And calcium deficiency increases the risk of osteoporosis, weakens teeth, and makes bones more fragile. Another risk is the strain on the kidneys. When oxalic acid binds with calcium, it forms oxalate crystals, which can accumulate in the kidneys and lead to stone formation. According to the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases of the United States, 79% of kidney stones contain calcium oxalates, and frequent consumption of spinach and other oxalate-rich foods increases the likelihood of stone formation by 32%. This is particularly dangerous for individuals predisposed to kidney stone disease. Doctors at a clinic in Boston recently diagnosed a 41-year-old woman with recurring kidney colic. It turned out that she drank a spinach and arugula smoothie with olive oil every day, believing it to be the perfect breakfast. However, the constant intake of oxalic acid into her body led to oxalate buildup, which eventually triggered kidney stone formation. To avoid such consequences, it is better to choose leafy greens with low oxalic acid content, such as lettuce, collard greens, or Swiss chard. If spinach is frequently included in the diet, it should be cooked. Boiling reduces oxalic acid content by 30 to 40%. To minimize calcium loss, it is also beneficial to pair leafy greens with calcium-rich foods, such as almond milk or low-fat cheese. This approach allows for maximum nutritional benefits without health risks. Mistake 12. Olive oil and beans and chickpeas. In Mexican dishes, hummus, and salads. Beans, chickpeas, and other legumes have long been considered an ideal source of plant-based protein and fiber. They are key ingredients in many popular dishes: Mexican tacos and burritos, Middle Eastern hummus, hearty salads, and stews. Adding olive oil to them seems like the healthiest choice. However, there is a hidden issue. Legumes contain anti-nutrients that can interfere with fat absorption, reducing the nutritional value of the meal, and causing unpleasant side effects. Phytic acid and protease inhibitors found in beans and chickpeas hinder the breakdown and absorption of fats and certain minerals. A 2022 study by the University of Illinois found that 41% of people who consumed legumes with oils experienced a 27% decrease in the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins, including vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. This means that even when olive oil is present in a dish, the body does not fully benefit from its nutritional properties. Another important factor is how legumes affect digestion. They contain oligosaccharides, complex carbohydrates that can cause bloating, gas, and intestinal discomfort. In 2023, the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases of the United States published data showing that 68% of patients with irritable bowel syndrome experienced worsened symptoms after consuming legumes combined with fats. This happens because fats slow digestion, while the anti-nutrients in beans increase the strain on the gastrointestinal tract. Gastroenterologists at a clinic in Los Angeles recently treated a 36-year-old man who ate hummus with olive oil daily, believing it to be the perfect snack. Over time, he began experiencing constant heaviness and a lack of energy. Lab tests revealed that his levels of fat-soluble vitamins were significantly below normal, leading to dry skin, impaired vision, and weakened immunity. To avoid these problems, beans and chickpeas should be soaked for at least 8 hours before cooking. This reduces anti-nutrient content by 40 to 50%. Heat treatment also plays a crucial role. Boiling destroys up to 80% of protease inhibitors, improving fat absorption. If using hummus, it is best to add olive oil just before serving, rather than mixing it in advance to minimize the impact of anti-nutrients. This approach allows you to maximize the benefits of each ingredient without negative health effects. Mistake 13. Olive oil and onions, red, green, and yellow, in salads, tacos, and guacamole. Onions are one of the most popular ingredients in cuisines around the world. They add a sharp, flavorful kick to dishes, enhance taste, and even have antiseptic properties. Olive oil, on the other hand, is rich in antioxidants and healthy fats. However, their combination may not be as beneficial as it seems. The reason is that onions contain active sulfur compounds that react chemically with oils, accelerating their oxidation. Fat oxidation is a process in which beneficial fatty acids break down, turning into toxic compounds. A 2023 study by the University of North Carolina found that when olive oil comes into contact with sulfur compounds, the level of lipid peroxides, key markers of oxidation, increases by 39%. This makes the oil not only less effective, but potentially harmful, as oxidized fats contribute to inflammatory processes and cellular damage. This combination is particularly risky for cardiovascular health. In 2022, the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute of the United States conducted a study showing that regular consumption of oxidized fats increases the risk of developing atherosclerosis by 28%, accelerating cholesterol plaque buildup in the arteries. This can lead to high blood pressure, ischemic heart disease, and even stroke. Additionally, when a mixture of olive oil and onions is stored in the refrigerator for an extended period, the oxidation process continues, causing the oil to lose most of its antioxidant properties. Doctors at a clinic in Miami recently examined a 47-year-old man who had been regularly eating pre-prepared salads with onions and olive oil for years. His lab tests revealed high levels of oxidized lipids in his blood, which were linked to chronic fatigue and vascular inflammation. To avoid these risks, it is best not to mix oil and onions in advance, but to add them to dishes just before consumption. Another alternative is to use cooked onions instead of raw. Heat treatment partially breaks down sulfur compounds, reducing their impact on fats. This approach helps preserve the benefits of both ingredients while minimizing potential health risks. Mistake 14. Olive oil and lemon and lime for avocado dressing in guacamole. Lemon juice and olive oil are a classic combination found in dressings, marinades, and sauces. Many people believe that adding a few drops of citrus juice along with oil to fresh vegetables or avocado makes a dish not only tastier but also healthier. However, there is a hidden risk that few consider. The acid in lemons and limes accelerates the oxidation process of oil, turning it from a beneficial product into a source of harmful compounds. Oil oxidation is a process in which fatty acids break down due to exposure to oxygen, light, and high temperatures, forming free radicals. These unstable molecules damage body cells and accelerate inflammation. A 2023 study by the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that adding acidic components, lemon or lime juice, to olive oil increases lipid peroxidation levels by 52%. This means that even a small amount of acid can make the oil less beneficial and, in some cases, harmful to health. The free radicals produced in oxidized oil destroy cell membranes and accelerate aging. In 2022, the National Institute on Aging of the United States published data showing that 61% of people with chronic inflammatory diseases, arthritis, diabetes, heart disease, had elevated levels of oxidized fats in their blood, which worsened their conditions. Regular consumption of foods with high levels of oxidized lipids also increases the risk of oncological diseases by 29%. It is especially dangerous to mix oil and acid in advance and store the mixture for several days. Doctors at a clinic in San Francisco examined a 45-year-old man who ate salads daily with a dressing made of lemon juice and olive oil that had been prepared in advance. His lab tests revealed high levels of oxidized lipids, which were linked to inflammatory processes in his blood vessels and an increased risk of atherosclerosis. To preserve the benefits of olive oil, it is best to add it to dishes immediately before consumption rather than mixing it with acidic liquids in advance. If lemon or lime juice is still desired, it should be added separately to avoid the accelerated breakdown of beneficial fats. This simple approach helps reduce the risk of oxidation and supports vascular and cellular health. Mistake 15. Olive oil in salads, pasta, and spreads. Olive oil has long been considered a symbol of healthy eating. It is used to dress salads, drizzle over pasta, and add to hummus and spreads, often praised as a good fat that benefits the body. However, even the healthiest product can become a risk if consumed in excess. Overconsumption of olive oil can overload the liver, disrupt fat metabolism, and contribute to inflammatory processes that may lead to obesity and serious health conditions. The liver is the primary organ responsible for processing fats. When too much fat is consumed, the liver is forced to work at maximum capacity. A 2023 study by the American Gastroenterological Association found that 48% of individuals who regularly consumed more than 50 grams of olive oil per day showed signs of fatty liver disease, an excessive buildup of fat in the liver that can lead to inflammation and tissue fibrosis. If dietary habits are not adjusted in time, the risk of developing non-alcoholic fatty liver disease increases by 37%. But that is not all. Excess fat in the diet contributes to weight gain and metabolic imbalances. According to the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases of the United States, 62% of individuals with obesity consume excessive amounts of vegetable oils, without realizing that even healthy fats can be stored in fat deposits when overconsumed. Olive oil contains 884 kilocalories per 100 grams, making it one of the most calorie-dense foods. Even a slight excess in intake can lead to an energy imbalance and weight gain. A recent case at a clinic in Florida involved a 39-year-old woman who believed that consuming large amounts of olive oil daily was beneficial to her health. She drizzled it over salads, added it to pasta and smoothies, reaching a daily intake of 70 grams. After several years, she was diagnosed with non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, an inflammatory liver disease caused by excessive fat accumulation. To maximize the benefits of olive oil, moderation is key. The optimal intake for a healthy person is no more than 20 to 30 grams per day. It is best used fresh as a dressing rather than added indiscriminately to every meal. Additionally, it is beneficial to alternate olive oil with other healthy fats such as nuts, avocados, flaxseed oil, or coconut oil. This balanced approach allows for maximum health benefits without overloading the liver or triggering metabolic issues. Next, I recommend checking out these videos, and don't forget to leave your likes and comments. I'm looking forward to them.